The universe is as close to infinite as anyone could possibly imagine, containing so many different stars, planets, and astrophenomenon beyond comprehension. A near endless wellspring of possibility, where the circumstances can differ so drastically that almost anything can become possible. Our story begins in a place like this. Most planetary systems fall under a very specific set of circumstance. A star, and around that star, countless worlds that rotate, drawn by the gravitational force of that star, held in a circular pattern. But the place where we begin our story today is drastically different, because our story begins in the star system of Omera. Here, things are not as they are through the rest of the universe, because at the center of this system lies not a star, but a world, a planet, one so massive, so all-encompassing in size and status, that the 3 stars that fill this system and the 15 planets all circulate around it, drawn by its immense gravitational pull. Everything in this system circulates this single, gargantuan world. And that is where our story starts. Because if one is capable of bearing the forces that are emitted by this gargantuan world, enough so to find themselves on the surface, then what you would find there would astonish even the most knowledgeable of minds, because there you will find a flourishing world covered in vast mountain ranges, forests, oceans, or what one might assume were oceans, but are in actuality far different from the oceans on any other world. But I digress. Distant from the oceans of this world, deep into the forests that sprout beautiful, vibrant life, trees, plants, and animals, unlike anything that you might be familiar with, wander these woods, and deep within them, nearing a set of mountain ranges, lies a small, quaint village. The homes of this village carved from the stone of the land. Inside, fires burn, where families cook meals to eat, where there is everything one might expect of a home. Beds to sleep, chairs to sit, windows to gaze out of. And if one were to gaze out of one of these windows, one would see a flourishing community. People walking about, living their daily lives, in somewhat primitive fashion, mind you, but happy lives nonetheless. Families walk by with their children, men and women prepared to go forage for food and water. And at the periphery of this village, in a small clearing before the woods take hold, a small group of children plays, kicking around a ball, playing a game of some sort. Not one that anyone would be familiar with. One that has strange rules, But strange though the rules might be to us, these children enjoy the game fervently, smiling and laughing, as children tend to do. However, they are unaware of the danger that approaches, because from within the woods nearby, a predator lurks, a savage beast who sees what they believe to be an easy meal. Their hunger is not sated, keeping low and hiding in the dense shrubs and bushes, the massive trees that fill the forest line. It waits for an opportunity that very soon presents itself as one of the children kicks the ball, missing their target and causing the ball to fly quite near the woods. There, a young girl runs to fetch it so that the children might continue their game, every step bringing her closer to those dark woods. And as she approaches the ball, leaning down to pick it up, the beast attacks, lunging from the forest line at a rapid dash, growling and snarling, fangs bared, claws digging into the dirt and earth, tearing grooves and chunks as it makes rapid pace towards its young target, all alone, separated, its dense scaly skin gilding off a silvery sheen, its fangs like iron, the patches of fur that emit from the places in between the scales like woven steel. All of these terrifying things coming to bear, it finally reaches the girl, opening its massive jaws wide, completely prepared to have a meal, and the young girl, too terrified to move, gazing down the gullet of this massive beast, certain in the moment that, though her time was short, it has now come to an end. But before the jaws can clamp, ending the story of this young girl, before the beast gets its fill, a shockwave erupts, appearing from seemingly nowhere at all, in a flash of speed so rapid that none were prepared for it. The beast feels its jaw crack and shatter as a fist impacts it directly to the side of the head, punching it so hard that shockwaves of air erupt, sending the girl spinning backwards a short distance. The beast, however, rolls over several times, striking the ground as it tries to find its way back to its paws, being struck again before it could ever think to do so, this time on the top of the head. Now clearly we can see a man with long flowing golden hair, his fist planted firmly into the forehead of the creature, crushing into it so soundly that even the earth beneath the creature gives way, shattering to rubble and bits. Once again, before the creature can even think to respond, it struck again, a kick strong enough to lift it from its crater in the ground, its head reeling back, its claws flung in the air. And as the creature reels back, unable to gain bearing or find a sense of itself, and long before it could think about doing so, the man draws from a long sheath a blade, a long silver-toned piece of metal, honed to a razor's edge. Swinging this blade but a single time, the warrior slashes straight through the massive beast. A spray of silver blood scatters on the ground as an absolutely massive slash wound is left through its body, finally collapsing due to the impact and the strike. It shuffles a bit, but only for a few moments, before the spark of its life fades away and it lies motionless. There, as if it was nothing, the warrior shakes the blood from the blade, scattering it on the ground nearby, and wiping the blade clean before rapidly returning it to its sheath. This is the village's strongest warrior, a champion of his people. Though he is young in years, the respect that he garners from his people is without question, as he turns around to smile at the young girl, slowly approaching her and placing his hand on the top of her head, rustling her hair ever so gently. "Now that big old cat didn't scare you now, did it?" he said, smiling down at the young girl, who had a few tears in her eyes and was sniffling a bit. "No, I'm okay," the little girl said. "Good, I'm glad to hear it. But let this be a lesson. Remember, kids, the woods are dangerous. You shouldn't play nearby them, not unless some of the warriors are present. But don't worry, I'll send some of them to keep watch. But next time, tell someone before you go playing near the woods." "Yes, sir," the girl replies, wiping a few of the last tears and sniffling a few more times. "All right, you go play now. You dry those tears and have fun," he said, giving the girl one last pat on her head before sending her on her way. This man was Delius, and our story begins with him.